Каждый год в мире стартует.
A lot of IT projects are launched every year all over the world, but only a few of them achieve success. Some examples are the Microsoft Corporation, Skype Internet Telephony, LiveJournal blogging system, and YouTube video service.
В жизни предпринимателя
Entrepreneur David Yang, founder of Abbyy, participated in several ventures like this, but not all his efforts were successful.
всегда. Мысль об электронном переводе.
An idea to create an electronic dictionary occurred to David during his 4th year as a student at the Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology. He was taking his French exam and realized that an electronic dictionary could be a lifesaver for any student. The idea seemed profitable.
I arrived to Chernogolovka and found my future partner Sasha Moskalev and asked him to write the program. We planned to make it in July, sell 100 copies for 100 rubles each and earn 10,000 rubles. Fantastic money for the students.
Перед создателями LINGVO встала задача.
The LINGVO creators met a challenge to convert an English-Russian dictionary into digital form. To do this, they needed to hire people and pay them for the job. The Youth Research and Technology Center agreed to fund the young entrepreneurs in exchange for half of the sales revenue.
They didn't need any guarantees, they just believed us. They gave us 300 rubles.
Так появилась.
That's how the first version of the LINGVO dictionary appeared. And in 1990, its creators founded Bit Software Company. Enterprises like these are called startups.
In a startup, everything begins with an idea. But that's only the beginning. The idea itself ends up being about 1% of the enterprise's full value. Not all startups survive. Only 1 out of 100 or maybe 1,000 startups will turn into a large company.
Стартап в буквальном переводе.
Startup is a company recently created, not yet on the market, which builds its business around innovative technologies.
Инновационных технологий. Когда словарь LINGVO был написан,
after the LINGVO program had been written, its authors found out that several electronic dictionaries already existed on the market. But the LINGVO proved to be the best.
он был намного объемнее по количеству словарных.
For one thing, it had the biggest vocabulary. Also, it required only 3 kilobytes of random access memory. For personal computers of the late 80s, this was an important advantage.
Ну и, наконец, в-третьих,
And lastly, the LINGVO dictionary was made user-friendly.
The competition was not the ordinary kind, however. There was no market to speak of at the time, so news of our program was basically spread around through the word of mouth. But we were miles ahead of our competitors, thanks to the convenient interface. One could get a translation with just a mouse click.
за год компании.
Within the first year, Bit Software only sold 15 legal copies of the program, but at 700 rubles each instead of 100. The income allowed them to repay small investment. Illegal distribution of the electronic dictionary helped advertise the company. First, 1,000 people used the program, then tens of thousands. But what would happen next? David Yang admits that had the ideas dried out after the LINGVO dictionary, there would be no Abbyy company and no 30 million users today.
Мы тогда услышали, где-то подслушали.
We learned somewhere about the drills and holes concept. When someone buys a drill, he does not need the drill itself. He needs the holes it can make. It is the same for us. Most people buy the dictionary because they need translations.
David suggested uniting several products from different producers in one set: a scanning and text recognition program, a proofreader, a machine translation program, and the LINGVO electronic dictionary. This will make a translator's work a lot easier. Nobody had done that before. And then Bit Software decided to create its own recognition system and called it the FineReader.
FineReader.
Recognition key parameter measures the accuracy of recognition. The percent of correctly recognized letters defines how long it takes to check a text and whether it needs to be checked at all. Modern systems of recognition, and our FineReader in particular, recognize a well-printed text with accuracy of 99.8, 99.9%. That means just a couple errors per page.
Сегодня FineReader распознает
Today, the FineReader can read badly printed text, even if characters are only half visible. Moreover, it can do it in 188 different languages. The FineReader is now more efficient than any other OCR systems on the market.
и текст-бридж. Российский продукт мог распознавать
FineReader's competitors replaced unfamiliar words with asterisks,
в тексте встречались заимствования из английского.
whereas the Russian product can recognize two languages simultaneously.
Незнакомые слова звездочками.
We wanted to know our world ranking, so we bought all the Western programs we could get our hands on and compared our own program with theirs. And we were completely shocked when we realized that, in fact, we were far ahead of them.
Начался поиск иностранных
The company began to look for foreign partners. Abbyy focused on Ukrainian, European, and American companies already working on the market of optical character recognition. When the FineReader sales abroad got going, David Yang decided to end up with the day-to-day business management and begin working on his third startup.
Тогда возникла идея
I got a mad idea for creating a device which would allow young people to make friends with each other despite the distance.
В 98-м
In 1998, David Yang developed the concept of a new cheap gadget for teenagers, the Abbyy-How. Nobody in the company could have predicted that this project would result in multi-million losses. At the time, when mobile phones were still a luxury and Bluetooth and Wi-Fi were only projects, Russian programmers made instant messaging accessible to any schoolboy.
Вообще понятие стартапа появилось уже в
The concept of a startup first appeared in the early years of the 21st century. Globalization helped Russian companies advance their ideas and technologies to the West. That is where these technologies are actually needed, because the Russian IT market is not ready yet for the startups.
в мире появилась первая
The first social network, Abbyy-How, was launched. It allowed people to locate friends in a 150-meter radius. The Abbyy-How could be used as a games console and connected to computer to access the internet.
Abbyy-How is the creation of David Yang and now has a partnership with America Online.
Основатель ICQ
Yossi Vardi, the founder of ICQ, named the Abbyy-How the most important invention since the MP3 format. In the year 2000, 250,000 Abbyy-How devices were sold in America over a 4-month period, for a total of over $20 million. The plan was to sell at least another 1.5 million gadgets. But the crisis erupted and put an end to these plans. 150,000 devices were left in the warehouse. They cost around $10 million, the exact sum that was needed to introduce the new Abbyy-How phone to the market. David Yang managed to move his business to Europe, but then happened something that even the most talented businessman could not have foreseen.
We were ready for the grand opening of sales at Harrods store in the center of London. The helicopters were expected to land on the roof of the building, bringing the first lot of the Abbyy-How. The doors were to be open and police on horseback were supposed to guard the crowds of children who would run into the Harrods to buy the Abbyy-How. The kids who got there first were thought to get a flash card for free. All this was scheduled for September 15, 2001. But on September 11th, the terrible tragedy happened in the USA. And of course, there were no flights over London, no police, no crowds of buyers.
спасти гибнущий бизнес.
Nothing could rescue the dying business. The cellular networks grew fast, and cheap portable devices, perfect for instant messaging, appeared on the market.
Вы знаете, были тысячи других.
Well, you know, there were thousands of these companies, ideas and technologies, which met the same fate. And only some can blame natural disasters or other unexpected events. More often, these things are not the main reason of failure.
The Cyberco started out with a bang, yet it failed. However, there are contrary examples in the world of business as well.
In the early 90s, a lot of people started their businesses. An old friend of mine bought a truckload of bananas on a loan and sent them to the Russian city of Orenburg. But the summers in Orenburg are terribly hot, and the bananas are easy to spoil and should be stored at 13–14 degrees Celsius. It turned out that the refrigerators were not working and his bananas were just dumped on the street. And during these 3 days, when the bananas were on sale, it was 13 degrees in the city, perhaps for the first time in the century. This was a startup sure to fail, but somehow it didn't.
После завершения проекта Cyberco,
After the Cyberco project, David Yang started a restaurant. He himself was a chef there. While mastering the restaurant business, he got involved in his next startup. Together with his business partner, he launched the LINGVO, a system supposed to automate the restaurant business.
As an information technology person with 15 years of experience in programming, I was deeply impressed by the fact that up to 60 or 80% of restaurants in Russia still use a program for DOS operating system. Those who know what it is will understand what I mean. This operating system existed in the early to mid-90s.
Restaurants were using several programs. One operated a warehouse, another a kitchen, the third a cash desk. Just like in the case of the LINGVO office set, David Yang invented a solution. The LINGVO automated system united all 3 programs. Moreover, the new program could calculate a waiter's tips, supervise video monitoring, and so on.
It is clear that the hospitality industry automation market exceeds $1 billion in the United States alone. The worldwide turnover, including its China part, is several billion dollars. We are aware that our product is ahead of its time and has a chance not only in Russia, but on the world market as well.
It was during the crisis, when businesses tend to avoid spending too much money, that 750 restaurant owners invested in the LINGVO. But now, as before, David Yang is becoming restless in the confines of the Russian market.